Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on really a fascinating journey into the very latest in AI from all around the globe. Get ready, because the pace of innovation is just, well, it's absolutely breakneck. We're here to help you navigate it all.
It really is. The sheer volume and honestly, the diversity of AI news breaking almost daily can feel a bit overwhelming. So our mission in this deep dive is pretty straightforward. Cut through that noise, distill the key insights, and maybe uncover some surprising implications from this constant stream of information.
Exactly. The goal here is to give you a shortcut. A way to be incredibly well-informed on where AI is heading, like right now. We've structured this geographically, which should help make sense of it all. We'll start in Europe, then head through Asia, and finally land in the Americas and Israel. We'll look at how AI is shaping industries, tackling challenges, and maybe even changing how we interact with the world.
Okay, so kicking off in Europe, we're seeing some really interesting things happening there. It's kind of a mix, right? Cutting-edge innovation meeting some pioneering regulation.
Definitely. A real blend. First up, let's talk about open ocean robotics. Now imagine this. A robot boat powered entirely by the sun, just silently patrolling the oceans. They're making a pretty big splash expanding into the UK and European markets. It's all through a new partnership. Their main thing is these data explorer vessels.
Yeah, and those vessels are key. They're built for long-endurance, zero-emission operations.
All right.
But what's truly insightful here, I think, is how these autonomous zero-emission platforms could fundamentally shift the economics of, well, watching the oceans.
Yeah.
Traditionally, getting marine data, it's incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
And very carbon intensive.
Well, absolutely.
So open ocean robotics, especially with their partnership for integrated surface to underwater stuff, they could sort of democratize access to marine data, stuff that was previously only available to, say, big navies or energy companies.
Huh. So cheaper, greener access.
Exactly. It could even reshape, geopolitical influence in some areas by just offering a much more accessible alternative.
That's a fascinating angle on the innovation side. But what about the rules? We talk a lot about building AI, but governing it, that's a whole other story. And the EU has really stepped up here. They've introduced the world's first comprehensive AI law. And get this, it's already in effect.
It is, and this is monumental, a huge shift. The EU AI Act, it's not just about developing AI, it's a risk-based framework. And it applies to the use of AI.
Yeah.
Even in systems where the AI is kind of embedded, hidden, maybe not obvious to the user.
Right, like in your ERP system or something.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So for organizations, this means, well, first, identifying every instance of AI they use, then mapping out its potential impact on decisions, understanding where the data comes from, establishing clear accountability. It really pushes governance, transparency, and human oversight right to the forefront.
So compliance is basically non-negotiable if you want to operate in the EU.
Absolutely. And the penalties.
Yep.
They're substantial for high-risk violations. We're talking serious fines.
Okay. And sticking with Europe and big business, what happens when major players try to merge in this AI-driven world? There was this massive food delivery acquisition, JustEatTakeaway.com, by Prosus for $4.1 billion. It just got the green light, but there was a twist.
Yeah, that acquisition is really telling. It highlights just how strictly the EU is scrutinizing these big digital platform consolidations. Prosus wants to create this European food delivery champion, right? But the EU approval came with a pretty demanding condition. Prosus has to significantly reduce its stake in a competitor, Delivery Hero.
Ah, so they're worried about competition.
Exactly. It shows regulators are serious about maintaining market competition. But here's the other interesting part. Prosus explicitly plans to inject its AI capabilities into Just Eat Takeaway. They want to boost profitability, drive innovation. It's a clear signal. AI isn't just a tech sector buzzword anymore. It's becoming fundamental to business strategy, even in industries you might think of as more traditional, like, food delivery.
That's a great point. AI is everywhere. Okay, let's shift our gaze now over to Asia. We're seeing AI shaking things up across the board there too. Major acquisitions, hyper-targeted advertising, you name it. First off, a Swedish firm, EQT, just made a pretty significant acquisition in South Korea. They bought an HR tech platform called Remember for about $400 million.
Right, Remember,
Yeah.
often called Korea's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And this acquisition, it's a powerful illustration of how AI is just fundamentally transforming HR. It started out, believe it or not, as a simple business card app.
Really?
Yeah, but by leveraging AI, it evolved into this really sophisticated talent matching and recruitment automation platform. Millions of users now. It's not just about efficiency gains. It's tackling critical issues like labor shortages, the demand for experienced talent, especially relevant in places with rapidly aging populations, like Korea.
So AI is solving very specific, very real-world problems there.
Precisely. And that's why these targeted AI solutions are attracting such significant global investment.
Okay, so from finding talent to finding customers, AI is definitely everywhere. Let's talk about Cuttable, an Australian startup that just snagged $4.5 million in seed funding. Their pitch is making ad creation ridiculously fast and efficient.
Yeah, and what's genuinely game-changing about Cuttable's platform is its ability to generate agency-level video ads. And it does this from existing product images and data in minutes.
Wow, minutes.
Minutes. Think about the pain point for e-commerce brands. They need constant creative diversity, right, to feed the algorithms on platforms like Meta. But traditional ad agencies, they can be slow, expensive.
Tell me about it.
Cuttable basically automates that whole creative process. It's a prime example of AI not just assisting, but actually automating creative tasks. It massively boosts marketing efficiency, allows smaller brands to compete on ad volume and freshness with much bigger players.
That's democratization through AI again, in a way.
In a sense, yes, lowering barriers.
Now, AI isn't just for these broad applications. We're seeing it get incredibly specific, even culturally tailored. For instance, Malaysia just launched NurAI. It's being called the world's first Sharia-compliant AI chatbot, developed by Zetrix AI BHD in partnership with China's DeepSeek.
This is a really unique development. NurAI is designed specifically for Muslim users. It gives guidance on daily life, finance, even legal questions. But crucially, it does this while adhering to Islamic values and etiquette.
That's fascinating.
It really is. It signals a trend towards culturally sensitive AI, where ethics, religious compliance, they're baked into the core design from the start. This move could set a powerful precedent, I think. For other specialized, culturally aligned AI solutions around the world, it proves AI can adapt to incredibly diverse user needs, rather than just being this one-size-fits-all technology.
A really important point about localization and cultural relevance. All right, let's move over to the Americas and Israel. Here we see a lot of focus on some fundamental shifts in AI. We're talking physical embodiment, ethical implications, big stuff. Take NVIDIA, we know them for graphics cards, right? But they're moving way beyond that now. Their CEO, Jensen Huang, is calling something called physical AI and robotics the next trillion-dollar opportunity.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really, really interesting for the future, I think. NVIDIA launched Cosmos Reason, it's a 7 billion parameter vision language model.
Oh.
But it's not just about making robots move. That's the easy part, relatively speaking.
Okay.
It's about teaching AI to understand and reason about the physical world. Concepts like, physics, object permanence, how things interact in space and time. Stuff humans grasp intuitively.
So it's about the understanding part.
Exactly. It's critical for building the brain for these embodied agents, for robots. Bridging that gap between digital simulations and messy real-world interaction, they're literally creating the infrastructure for AI to move beyond our screens, to factories, into cities, maybe eventually into our homes. They're targeting those massive manufacturing and logistics sectors first. Huge potential.
A huge shift indeed, from digital to physical. But what about how AI will change our digital world? You know how we click and browse the internet today? Well, it sounds like we should get ready for a completely different kind of web interaction. It's driven by something called agentic AI. Researchers are already deep into investigating this idea of an agentic web.
Right. And this research proposes a really fundamental shift. The internet moving from us, humans, clicking around to what they call goal-driven, actionable, machine-to-machine collaboration.
Machine-to-machine, how does that work?
Well, imagine your AI agent doesn't just fetch search results for you. Instead, it automatically browses multiple sites, compares options, maybe even executes multi-step tasks, all based on your high-level goal or intent.
Like booking a whole trip automatically.
Potentially, yes. Or finding the best deal on a complex product, handling the comparison shopping. It could revolutionize how we get things done online. But it also raises critical questions. Security, obviously, and something called agentic misalignment.
Misalignment.
Yeah, where these autonomous agents might act in unintended ways, maybe even harmful ways. So it absolutely emphasizes the need for strong human oversight, robust governance. We need to figure that out as this future unfolds.
Definitely sounds like a double-edged sword. Needs careful handling. And speaking of potential pitfalls, the AI boom isn't exactly smooth sailing, especially around intellectual property. A group of authors just filed a class action lawsuit against Microsoft. They claim Microsoft used nearly 200,000 of their books allegedly pirated without permission to train its Megatron AI model.
Yeah, this lawsuit is a very significant development. It's part of that ongoing copyright battle between content creators and AI companies. It hits right at those critical questions. What constitutes fair use when you're training an AI? How should creators be compensated for their intellectual property? What are the ethics of sourcing training data?
Big questions.
Huge. And this case, just like similar ones against OpenAI and Meta, could set really important precedents. How models are built, what data they can legally ingest, how creators get paid, or if they get paid. The plaintiffs are seeking substantial damages, up to $150,000 per work, plus an injunction. The stakes are incredibly high.
A space we definitely need to watch closely. Now, these ethical implications, they aren't just about copyright, are they? There was a recent study from the UK, from the LSE actually, that raised a pretty serious red flag. It found that AI tools being used by local governments might be perpetuating gender bias, particularly in healthcare contexts.
Yes, that LSE study is critically important. It highlights a very real-world ethical challenge when we deploy AI systems. They found that Google's Gemma model, when used by UK local councils to summarize social care needs, well, it tended to downplay women's physical and mental health issues compared to men's, even when the underlying records described similar needs.
Wow. How did that happen?
It points to deep-seated biases, either in the data the model was trained on or perhaps in the model's design itself. And the impact is tangible, potentially negative. It's a really stark reminder that AI isn't neutral. It can reflect and even amplify existing societal biases.
Leading to potentially unequal care.
Exactly. Which is why transparent testing and robust legal oversight are absolutely essential, especially when AI is used in sensitive areas like public sector services, where equitable outcomes have to be the priority.
A sobering reminder about the need for vigilance. #tag outro. Okay, what a whirlwind tour that was. AI across the globe. We've seen everything from ocean-exploring robots to culturally specific chatbots. And we've also dived into some really complex ethical challenges, intellectual property, algorithmic bias.
Indeed. We've really seen that relentless pace of innovation, but also the increasing importance of ethical considerations, of responsible deployment, and of course the massive investments pouring into this field. We try and connect this to the bigger picture. AI isn't just some standalone tool anymore, is it? It's becoming deeply embedded in our infrastructure, our economy, our daily lives. It's influencing everything from global supply chains to how we tackle big societal challenges.
So what does this all mean for you listening? As AI continues this rapid expansion, moving into every corner of our world from, complex scientific research right down to the most personal aspects of human life and emotion, how do we, all of us, ensure that this incredibly powerful technology is developed and used responsibly for the benefit of everyone, while still making sure we harness its incredible potential for discovery and progress?
It's a huge question.
It really is, and it feels like it's a conversation that's truly just beginning, but it's one that deeply impacts our shared future.